Linda's Pantry, and today I'm doing a prep-a-day, cook-a-day slow cooker recipe idea for this cold fall weather that we're having, and also some fall ingredients. So ingredients that came out of the garden that got harvested. A friend of mine gave me 2 venison shanks. I absolutely adore this. It's better than, you know, when you have lamb shanks and you slow braise them. Well, that's what this is going to be, only it's venison. And so I'm using butternut squash, fennel, celery, onions, shallot, bay leaves, herbs de Provence, beef broth, black pepper. I'm not putting any salt in there right away because this has some salt in it. But I'm going to get all these veggies chopped up. We're going to prep this all up for tomorrow. And then when I leave for work, this is going into the crock pot. So I've got to peel my butternut squash, and oops, and we've got a man down. So we're going to get this peeled up, and then I'll get to chopping. So let me get this peeled. It's not the easiest task on the planet, but oh so delicious. And don't forget, you want to put a few dried cranberries in here. I've got to see if I have enough. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my Rada knife, and I did my chef's knife. I did sharpen it. I tried to sharpen them before each use. Now, whether I use all of this, but look how easy butternut squash. And we all know how hard this squash is. But if you've got a sharp knife, it's really easy. So I'm going to use as much as it looks like I need to. I will cut up the rest for roasted butternut squash side dish because I love it. And if you'd like to see a side dish made with butternut squash for maybe your Thanksgiving table, or just because you'd like to see, I will give you a recipe. Anyway, so we're going to cut this up. I'm probably only going to use half of this that I've got here. We'll see how, I mean, all the vegetables are going to lend some extra broth, and I'm using beef broth. I am going to add some Cabernet Sauvignon to this because it's a red meat, and I think it just is very complimentary to that. Okay, I've got my fennel all washed, and that goes excellent in this dish. So there you go. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of butternut squash. We'll save this hunk for another dish. For side dish, I'll show you my roasted butternut squash. Anyway, okay, easy peasy. I'll set that aside. And then I've got my my crock pot here. Can you see that? Yeah, I've got my crock pot sitting there. We're gonna go ahead and put these 2 beautiful venison shanks in here. They're just gorgeous. I'll show you. All clean and ready to go. And the bone taken out. He didn't have to take the bone out, actually, but he usually grinds that for ground venison. I said, no, I want that for, you know what though? I am going to cut that. I'm going to cut this up into chunks. I'm not going to leave them whole. So let me get right back and I'll show you. I'll cut this all up. Okay, so again, you are sharpen that Rada knife. This is the slicer, and I just wipe that off. Make sure there's no metal residue on there. Just a couple swipes, and so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this meat, and you'll see. And there's a lot of connective tissue in this, but can you see? Okay, yeah. It's not as easy to cut up as, you know, like let's say stew meat, just because of that connected tissue. If you've ever had braised lamb shanks, oh my goodness, this is right up that alley. So I'm going to go ahead and add my beef broth to, I'm going to put a hole in the carton and add my beef broth into my crock pot. and get this meat in there. Look at that. Oh, super excited. This is one of my favorite meals ever. And I'm very thankful I was gifted this. So 1 quart is all you need of the beef broth. And I think I got that on sale for $1. And look at this gorgeous, look at that gorgeous meat. And all that connective tissue breaks down in the cooking process and makes it delicious. So had he left the bone in for me, I would have cooked it that way. But since he boned this, yeah, good to go. I did not get a deer this year. I had plans to, and I didn't do it. Unless I end up going hunting for the late season. I don't know. I might. I run out of time. I don't have very much time on my hands because I work all the time. All right. So see how nice that knife slices through all that sinew and connective tissue and gristle, and that's what breaks down, and all that collagen is like gold for our systems. We need that. We need to be ingesting that as much as possible. Okay, shank number 2. I'll bring you back when I get this one all cut up and in the pot, and I've washed up, and yeah, just like that. So good. I almost wish I would have put this in the crock pot this morning. It would have been something delicious for dinner. Oh. Okay, so I've got all the meat down in there. I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves because that's delicious. And 1 big one, 1 little one. Hold on. Okay, sorry. A little remnant on my finger. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of herbs to Provence. It's got everything you need in there. So about a tablespoon of that will go down in there. And then we're gonna go ahead with the butternut squash and see what that looks like. It's so complimentary with the butternut squash and onion, and oh, it's so good. I've also used apple before, and I have this pepper that needs to be used, and that'll just add some more vitamins. Vitamin C, lots of vitamin C in a red pepper. And oh, it smells good. Yeah, I don't like to waste anything, and these have been on sale the last couple of weeks, so I've been picking them up, and then I'm like, I gotta use them. So I like to saute them, just a really easy saute. If you'd like to see how I do peppers, colored peppers, sweet peppers as a side dish, well, again, leave me a comment down below. Okay, so all of that pepper in there, boom. And the vegetables are going to break down a little bit. So we need the onion. I want it pretty tight when I stir, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So we're going to cut up the onion and the shallot. And I've already peeled the shallot, so it's got that oniony, garlicky kind of flavor. I'm not adding, well, I probably will add garlic, but it's not a necessity at this point. Although everything does taste better with garlic. All right. Just a chop. Okay. Shallots in. Get my onion. And I'm pretty easy about how I rough chop. I don't go to all the trouble of trying to make a perfect dice because I like that rustic feel to the dish. Right? Okay, so that's what's happening at this point. All I'm gonna have left are the fennel and the celery to chop up and get that in there, and I'll show you how full the crock is. And this is a 5-quart crock pot, so it's not huge, but it's more than enough. I will have stew for days, and hopefully I can share. Does anybody want some venison stew? All right, there you go. Let me get this fennel cut up. This is kind of an odd beast, and I may not use the whole thing. I think I'm going to aim for half because I'd really like to use the other half in a different side dish for you. So we're going to do half. How's that? Half of the fennel. And it's basically another rough chop. And it's got, I'm not a licorice fan, but fennel is one of my favorites. It's got a slight licorice taste to it, but when it's cooked with, you know, the other vegetables and in that broth, oh my goodness, yeah, delicious. So let's get that in there. Okay. And I don't need, I'm not gonna put carrots in there because we've got the, there's a bad piece of celery. We have the butternut squash, and it's gonna land all that sweetness, and it just comes out perfect. All right, done. I think it's done. Okay, I think so. And if it looks like we can add something else, I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna whack up some garlic here and get that in there too. Because I don't know, I'm gonna feel guilty if I don't put garlic in this. I'm gonna go ahead and put that fennel in with the bag, put the butternut squash, and tie that up and get that in the fridge. Yum. Okay. We need black pepper, and I'm gonna put a healthy amount. I like pepper, about a half a teaspoon, maybe pushing a teaspoon. So let me bring you over and I'll show you. So can you see how, I mean, it's thick. I'm gonna add some red wine, and oh, and all the colors, absolutely beautiful. I may go out, if it's not raining, I might go out and grab a couple kale leaves to throw some kale in there because, well, because I can. All right. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a pretty full crock pot over here. I've got my garlic that I minced up, 3 cloves, 1 big one and 2 medium. Okay, so that is just about perfect. Now, I could put some potatoes in, and I might, but I'm gonna leave that for better judgment. So I'm gonna add about a half a cup of, this is not Cabernet, this is an old vine Zinfandel. It's gonna have just the perfect flavor of, oh yeah. And it won't overpower it. The alcohol cooks off, but it leaves the flavor of the wine. And absolutely delicious. Now, I am going to take this sleeve out, and it's going into the refrigerator, where tomorrow morning I will put it back into the crock, or the crock into the base, and I'll cook it on low all day long. When I come home, that venison will be fall apart tender. It's going to be delicious. So, and then you have a choice of thickening it if you want, and I might thicken it. I do like a really brothy venison stew, or venison, yeah, I like it kind of brothy, but it's because I want to dip some crusty bread in it. But I'm not doing the crusty bread these days, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like this. Maybe we'll thicken it. All right. In the fridge it goes. And I'll see you tomorrow with the end result. I'll come back on and do a taste test for you, and we'll see how it came out. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye. Don't forget to leave me a comment. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe and the bell notification. And as always, there's an Amazon store down below. You can go shop for some things. I also, my Thrive website is down there. And yeah, everything that's on sale this month with Thrive is delicious. There are none of the items that I wouldn't put in my pantry. All right, guys. Bye.